brilliant for going to workshops.
3, 2, 1. Good morning. Oh, we are live. We are live. A very good morning to you. Are you all well? Have you had a... Oh, she's in again. Half pint... What?
She's been fast asleep all
She
morning.
has been absolutely fast asleep. I nearly trod on her thinking she was a piece of fabric. Not that I tread on the fabric. I was trying to avoid her and then it moved. Oh, goodness me. It's like she hears. It's like it's a call to arms for her, isn't it? As soon as I say good morning and vroom, she's here going, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Good morning. Are you well? Have you had a good evening? Did you have good sleep? Are you rested? Are you ready for Workshop Wednesday? Did you have a good sleep?
Yes, I did. I slept like a log.
Is that...
It could be why.
Jane's having one of those mornings this morning. And... in her head, everything is going wrong. Like everything she's touched looks beautiful, but in her head, everything is going wrong. So I can just see this look of, oh no, oh no, which we love. We are here for you. You are amongst
it'll be fine.
Friends.
It'll all be fine.
All good. In the meantime, ho ho. Oh gosh, what to show you first? Well, should we say good morning? That would be the polite thing to do, wouldn't it? So good morning. Let's see who we've got with us, shall we, this morning? Diane and Alison and Fiona and Heidi, good morning. She says, I don't know if she sings it like that, but there's quite a lot of ings going on. Yeah. So I like to sing it to you. Sorry. And oh, here she comes. Half Pint, you've been fighting with people. You're going bald. Alison and Laura and Karen, good morning. And Diane and Kirsty. Oh, it's very windy with Kirsty today. There we go.
It's quite windy on the way here this morning.
Was it? Were you getting battered around all over the shop?
A little bit.
Oof, don't like that. Half Pint, don't sneeze, please. Heather and Penny, good morning. And Sewing Reno Patchwork Quilt is watching. Good morning to you. And Rona, hello, hello. And Kaz as well, good morning. She can't stay long. She's got a vaccine. Got to go for that. Yeah. It's all very important. Morning, Helen. Morning, Becky. Oh, she had a jab last night. Feeling fab. And I buy more beautiful fabric. Woohoo. Yeah, so there were 2 fabrics I completely forgot to show you yesterday because I got overexcited. Plus there was quite a lot. Linda, good morning, and Jenny, hello. Do I sell fabric on the full bolt? Well, Sewing Reno Patchwork Quilt. It depends what you're after. I can do. Just depends what you want. We sell lots by the half meter, which can be made up into a full bolt. Just info@natashamakes.com if you see anything that you like. Anna Martin, good morning, ladies. Excited muchly. Oh, Heidi says that she does sing like that, so that's fine when I say good morning. It's exactly how she sings. I mean, it's as if we were one. Poor thing. Tammy just says, cat!
Is that a cat? Or
I don't know.
Cat.
I don't know. We did have someone once on the order sheet go, keep that cat away from my fabric. And we're like, we don't let them in that bit.
We don't let them in the cutting room.
We don't let them in there.
Don't change the settings on the machine, thank you.
Half Pint, stop it. She walks across the iPad sometimes and changes what you're watching. Jane, your twiddle thing with the seams has changed my quilting life.
Oh, bless, that's
says
lovely.
Diane.
I'm happy to help.
See, making a difference without even knowing it. Morning, Jill. She says, good morning, the tribe. Good morning. I do love a good tribe. Hi, please stop sharing so many lovely fabrics as I spent a fortune yesterday to go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not look. Oh, hey up. Half Pint. Do you want to go that way? She's like, no. Gemma, I've got a show to do. Do you not know? She doesn't want to go anywhere, does she? Good morning, Ali G. Good morning, Karen. Morning, gorgeous girls. Oh, you can stay. You can stay. I'm actually cutting into some half meter heavens this morning. Time to stop stroking it. Oh, really?
That's what it needs, stroking.
Look, if you're going to start threading needles with your face, you can just go over there. Go on, off you go. Look, Theo's in his bed like a good boy. We did have a moment, didn't we, Jane, this morning?
We just had to admire him.
We all went to admire Theo, who was actually behaving himself and actually in a cat bed.
Yeah, and he just looked up as if to say, yeah, I know I'm gorgeous. It's all right. It's fine.
Just, you know, doing what I do, looking gorgeous. He was actually, they both love, you know, we had, wow, it was the velour, wasn't it? The leopard print velour.
They love it, don't they?
They love it. They really love it. Okay, so a few things to show you this morning. I ordered this completely by accident. I was putting in a massive order and I forgot that I'd been having a little look for things and I popped it in my trolley. So I don't even crochet. But for those that do, it appears that I have bought a crochet kit with a bear with a stick and a top.
A dancing bear.
I mean, he's quite cute, isn't he? Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking really. Because I think I was thinking, oh look, isn't crochet quite sweet?
Yeah.
I learnt to crochet so that I could crochet Freddie a rhino. Not going to lie. And he loved it. I'm just not very good at it. So I get confused. But for those of you that are, it's all in there. It's all in there. Oh, he's even got a little button for his bow tie at the back. Rather sweet. There we go. So yeah, if you fancy some kind of top hat based bear, he's rather lovely. Oh, now. Books! A good book! Look at this. Jane will go through it with you, I'm sure. But this is your everything you need to dream and plan and organise 12 projects. This is your Quilter's Project Planner. Do you know what? I'm going to show you that after I've shown the fabrics and I've moved them all out of the way. Oh, what a tease. But basically, Jane, if you had to summarise... Actually, no, I could do it on an overhead, couldn't I? Here we go.
It's everything. It's got a little bit of a diary in it. It's got a little bit of an address book in it. It's got a quilt show planner for when we go back to quilt shows.
Oh, it'll happen. It'll happen. My action plan. Sometimes it's one of those things, isn't it? If you actually write it down, it happens. I love that you can do your own colour wheel here.
It's got lots of hints and tips in there. At the back, there's a chart for
events. Here's all your events.
Yeah. There's right at the back. There's a how many bits your sizes for your quilt. So like it gives you the mattress size. Then it gives you what they call a comforter side. It is American, so it gives you a comforter, which is one that just fits over the top of the mattress. Mm-hmm. Then one that comes down the sides, and then one that comes to the floor. So it gives you the dimensions, so you can work out how much fabric you need.
Now here you've got the quilt title. You've got 12, so it's one a month. Yeah. Basically, you could pick one of Jane's a month. Pop it in here, the title, the start date, the completed date. I like this. I like this a lot. And then down here, you can tick it off as you go. You can colour it in and go... you can label, bind, quilt, back, baste, assemble, piece, cut, select and plan. And I mean, you do it from
middle out,
middle out, I realise as I read it, which keeps you on track, doesn't it? Makes you, fabric and supplies, project 1. This is, oh look, you've got even your graph paper and the other page for like putting your swatches on, so you know which fabric you've used for which bit. Nice. And this is for all of them, so that will be repeat 12 times.
And gorgeous pictures of quilts in between. Inspiration.
It's a bit gorgeous, isn't it? Quilt gift tracker. Oh
so
my
you know
goodness.
what you've made and who you've given it to.
That's a bit good, isn't it? Because that's the thing. I kind of lose track of what I gave to who. This is good, isn't it?
Because you may have made a quilt for somebody and then you think, oh, I'll make so-and-so that quilt, but you may have already made them one.
Yeah, they don't deserve another one. Retreat packing list. Oh, well, we've got something to add for your retreat packing list, haven't we? Yeah. Mind you, if you're doing like John's remote retreats, not a lot, snacks. Yeah. Because you're staying home.
But you'd still want to get everything together and make a list and make sure you got it all.
My library. Do you do that? I've got so many stick-its and post-it notes, but I never actually know what it was actually to write it down in here. Yeah. It's really, my local quilt shops, you can just scratch that through and write Natasha Makes, fine. My quilty friends, online friends, again, I mean, you're going to need more pages for that, aren't you, for the tribe?
Yeah.
It's nice though, isn't it?
It's lovely, and it's got the bits about joining your binding, how much you'll need, quantities, all sorts of useful information at the back there that is really helpful.
Decimal and fraction equivalents. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Perfect, because
Nice,
we
nice.
sometimes get European patterns that are all in centimetres.
Yeah, and width of fabrics, 2.5 times width of fabrics. So you've got your width of fabrics, you've got 6-inch design strips. Charm rolls are your 5-inch, your dessert rolls, and your fat rolls are 5-inch width of fabrics. This is really handy, isn't it?
It is. It's a
And
really
then
handy
your
chart to
2.5
have.
width of fabrics are your barley pops, your design rolls, your double scoops, your jelly rolls, your pixie strips, your roly polies, your roll ups, your stone strips, and your strip packs. I'm in the industry, never heard of half of those.
Mm.
Amazing. Ways to join your binding. This is really rather
It's a single
lovely.
binding and double binding as well, and shows you how that works. And it's really a handy little thing to have.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got that on the show today. Treat yourself. We have also got yum ba-da-dum ba-da-dum. I showed you this in the white, cream, ivory, whatever you want to call it, and completely forgot that we had it in the black as well.
I know, it's gorgeous.
So this is one of Lisa Chandler's. Again, these are the gum leaves, and they are rather fabulous. If you missed these yesterday, gosh, did you miss a treat? Look at that metallic on there. It sparkles and shines. Just the detail, the depth, the intricacy, the fact that they are anatomically correct, botanically correct, however you want to say them. It's these. They're rather fabulous. We had lots of other black striking backgroundy based things, didn't we? I mean, the stripe, the Hampton stripe that so many of you gone for yesterday. And thank you, by the way, for supporting us with that. And Lisa, and she was absolutely thrilled. We were thrilled. How did I forget this one? I think we weren't quite sure on the name. I'm going to have to roll this out. Now, bearing in mind that you get like double of this because this is it folded in half, but oh my goodness. This is from the Under the Australian Sun by Lisa Chandler. And again, all botanically correct.
Do you kaleidoscope quilts with that? You've got like
could you imagine?
option of 5 different blocks or more, haven't you? It's just got so much going on. It's lovely, and just making borders.
Just the richness of the red with that fiery shot of your metallics in there is simply stunning. And then this we obviously have got as just a plain fabric. I say plain. How can you call anything that is just metallic and ivory plain? But we've got that. So do take a look. Again, I'm going to make a promise to you with these that we are not going to have you buy all of these fabrics and leave you with no idea as to what to do to them and do with them. We are going to sort that, so do not worry about that. Right, we're going to run through Half Meter Heavens very, very quickly. These will go on sale as ever midnight tonight. So we have got, this is your flower bees in eggnog. I'm going to do these all as a close-up, Jane.
Is that a little bit of Tilda there?
Here's a little bit of Tilda, you know, yeah. Speaking of which, your Tilda subscriptions should be winging their way. There are a couple that we're just waiting for some extra ribbons for. Oh, that gives away, doesn't it, what's in there? But otherwise, yes, the rest of the Tilda subscriptions are going, which means that we then have to move on to the CAIF. We're waiting for 2 more bolts before the CAIF can go. They were meant to be here the 2nd week of January. But I finally paid all the tax on them. They're here in the country, just a few miles away. It's only in Birmingham.
I know.
It's sitting in Birmingham. Like, get it over here now. Come on. So anyway, I've got a massive order due to be delivered. So it was clear the rest of the shelves. You've seen already what a massive order we've had in from Lisa in Australia. So it kind of meant that we needed to make more space. So this Tilda's got to go. And then there was one more Liberty that I completely forgot, which was the Kyoto Posy in green from the Emporium range. And after today, our Liberty shelves will be bare because, well, after tomorrow when these go live, because what was left of the Deco Dance is going. Look at that with slate. Beautiful. That was my favourite one.
So pretty. It's just,
isn't it?
Really nice.
The thing with us is fabrics don't hang around. They come in, they go out. That's it. They don't hang around. If they're here for 3 weeks, they've been here a long time. This is your Silver Bells with fur. Upside down. Silver Bells with fur. Look at that. Look Look at that with the match for the green.
I know. You can just see
Yay!
little girls' dresses in that fabric. It's so pretty.
Beautiful. Now then, if you wanted to get ahead with some Christmas fabric, just put it to one side. Look, we've got this beautiful metallic moda with, I think this was the last of the green, salt batiks. They did as well, didn't they? When I bought that job lot, massive, great big lot,
Yeah.
that lasted us for nearly a year, all of those. And then I've only got one of these left. But I really rather I like it with that darker green.
Yeah, it just lifts it, doesn't it?
Because I did put it with the sort of the exact same green, and meh. So I put it with a darker one, and it just went, oh, pop, there's your gold. Thank you very much. Because actually, the leaves on the holly bush are not all green, are not all gold. Can you see? They're actually like brown with a speckle. Amazing. I'm racing through these. Now, this was controversial.
We tried a few, didn't we, with that?
Chartreuse. Claire, we're learning. We're learning to say it.
Chartreuse.
Oh, yes, it is that green that is in the middle. We tried this with so many pinks and greys and this and that, but actually we put it with that and went,
It just lifted it so much, didn't it? Because the grey brought out the pink, but was still a little bit flat, and the pinks weren't the right shades.
Yeah. Gold! With this one.
Beautiful.
Nice, right, nice. Again, when these are gone, they are gone. Oh, hang on. I've thrown in a sneaky heron lake.
Oh.
I found a handful more of these, but then they are gone. I thought they'd been put aside for some Chandler stuff, but it turns out they hadn't. So they can go. You can have those. Well, not have them. I mean, you have to hand over some whole new English pounds. What about a spot of Riley Blake, Harriet, with, it's the Jane Austen one, isn't it? With silver mink.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I couldn't have matched that better if I'd have tried. I did try, actually. That was how I managed it. And then we'll get through these. Soz people. Look, there's quite a lot. This is Mini Lindy Pop with cyan. Ooh. Bit lovely, isn't it? Again, I've only got a handful. This is just what was left. Like this one, I've only got one. This is your Dancing Buttercups. I've put that with a salt batik. I'm saving the rest of the yellow and the orange salt batiks for Easter, which, let's face it, is not actually going to be long now. Yeah. Now, the Deco Rose, I tried this with lots of different colours, and then I actually really like it with raspberry, so I'm just going to put it with raspberry.
Yeah, it really does lift it.
It does, doesn't it? But then I found this one. I went to put it with mint, and it was fine. But then actually the pomegranate went, you know it. That's what it said to me, Jane.
It usually does.
Yeah, and
Speaks
this one.
to you.
Well, pomegranate again with this one.
It's that pink in there. It's just the right shade.
It is, isn't it?
And it just lifts it.
But
Lifts
then
all the other colours as well.
Go for any of the others with gold. That's the gold. It's going to work. A treat. Oh, and then a little bit of Sanderson fell in. I know. A little bit of Sanderson with amethyst, would you believe? Lovely. And then Silver Bells with fuchsia. Check this out. I mean, yes.
Pretty.
Really pretty. Really pretty. I've put this, you know, with raspberry again. I went deeper. I went a deeper shade.
That really brings out the flowers,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
If I'd have gone for the same colour, it would have washed it.
Yeah,
it would have
just
all
gone
have been
flat, yeah.
meh.
Yeah.
But could you imagine doing Lisa's bag and having your Liberty one side and then the lid in pink?
Oh, that would be lovely, wouldn't it?
And then the Liberty flowers around the side. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there as an idea. Now, with the silhouette, because the main colour here was that sort of tealy blue, I just wanted the simplicity.
Again, it's just classical, isn't it?
And that's ivory, and it's just so incredibly beautiful. Lindy Hop with magenta. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mouth watering.
Right. And then I found a Liberty Christmas one. Do you remember these?
Oh yeah, the sparklies.
Yeah, they're sparkly. They've got like a coating on them, so they're cotton, but like a coated cotton.
Yeah, and it irons fine and everything. It plays like cotton, but it's just got a funny feel to it. But
Yeah.
the glitter doesn't come off on your iron or anything. It irons perfectly.
You know, your
Yeah,
Christmassy
gorgeous
colours.
stuff.
Christmassy colours. Anna Maria Horner, Pretty Potent with Paprika. We're going overhead with this one. Do you know why?
Because it's a bit lovely.
Boom! It's huge. And the paprika. Oh,
You can have such fun fussy cutting that.
Can't you? Can't you? And just look at the paprika with it. Yes, it's perfect. Perfect, perfect. And then I'm going to show you it on a close-up so that you can see the colours correctly. Look at that. Beautiful. Pink and paprika with your pretty potent posies. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, does it? Beautiful. And again, these, when they're gone, they're gone. What was this one? I want to say that was a Riley Blake one as well. I just found a handful
Tilda-esque
more.
feel to it, hasn't it?
But it's not. It's Riley.
not.
No, it's Riley Blake, and
Is that powder blue?
yeah, it was powder
Just
blue.
sets it off.
And then the last two were Shelbyvilles, Joe Morton Shelbyvilles, and sometimes you just need something
Again,
neutral, don't you?
that bag that you made yesterday, Lisa's bag, would look lovely in that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we don't always want wild and wacky, do we? You know, especially if you're making for someone that's maybe more traditional.
Well, that's the sort of thing that would go with everything, more or less, wouldn't it?
Of course it is.
An everyday bag.
Absolutely. So they are your offerings for your half-metre heavens. They will go live in fact, a couple of those are live already. Gemma's already started. I know. I think that one, possibly the Shelbyvilles and the Anna Maria. What else did she say? She's like, oh, I've already done such and such. Can't remember. Maybe the maybe the Christmas Liberty. Can't remember. And potentially the Sanderson. Oh no, it wasn't Nutella. It was Heron Lake. Live, I tell you, live. Jane.
You got no room.
I got no. So this morning's conversation goes. So as Jane clatters over, says, sorry, Jane, that's the duck's shovel. She just looked at me. She went, "Why is there a duck shovel in here?" I'm like, "It's for the ducks. Obviously, it's their shovel. It arrived yesterday. It just hasn't come out of here yet. It's new. It's clean. It's the duck's shovel, right?"
What else would you find in your studio?
Clearly. Now, I know what else I wanted to show you. Because we've sold out, you know these Sally Tomato hardware kits? We've sold out of the rose gold.
Wow.
Gold! And we've sold out of the rose gold and the gunmetal.
Yeah.
But I've got to show you this. Ooh, gold!
It looks gorgeous.
Doesn't it? If you are a bag maker, if you've bought Lisa Chandler's fabrics, if you are in the running for some mighty gorgeous Sally Tomato jobby things. I know they're not cheap. I know they're not. I know. But she's not. But she is like the Rolls Royce of your bag making malarkey.
But how fabulous to have a place with everything in the same place.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? It's the dream. If you've got someone in your life that's a bag maker and you want a gift for them,
yeah.
And it's on a bit of a special price, and it's all imported, taxes paid, all of that, import duties, everything's paid. It's all here. But like I say, we've already sold out of 2 of the colours. They're good, aren't they?
They are.
Really good. I even had to give up the one I was going to keep.
I know.
I can hear those tiny violins playing just for me. Means I have to go buy some more. I'm getting out of the way, Jane. I'm going to let you explain yourself.
Explain myself.
Explain your kits.
Okay.
I can't keep my top up today. I don't know what's going on. I'm all over the show.
Just gonna have a... Good morning. Oh, isn't it gorgeous this morning? It's so spring-like.
Do you
Loving
think?
it. Feel it.
Do you think we're
You
getting
can
there?
feel it, I think. It's warmer. I know it's a bit rainy this morning, but it was light as I was coming. You know, in the morning, so you know, I've been coming in the dark, and today halfway it started to get light, and it was nice. Arrived in the daylight.
Nice.
It's lovely. Love it, love it, love
Margaret
it.
would like to know why I'm shoveling ducks.
We're not shoveling them. We're shoveling what they produce.
Yeah, they're mucky ducks. Mucky ducks.
Mucky ducks. That's what ducks do.
Elliot the Gentleman Mouse crochet kit is now loaded, says Gemma.
Ooh.
I didn't know he was called Elliot.
Oh, the gentleman mouse.
Yes.
I thought it was a bear.
Is he a mouse? Awkward.
Well, I suppose he could be a mouse. He looks like a bear.
Hang
But
on.
he's definitely called Elliot.
Bid him around. Has he got a tail?
Yes.
Oh, I missed
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Soz, that's me.
Well, you didn't. You could. He's very handsome. I can imagine some little person loving him to pieces.
Aww.
Pieces to pieces. We've got 4 colourways for you today. All of them will be with ivory as the background because we decided that would work best with all of them. You might have something in your stash that you feel might work better. Then we've got a long quarter. You have 1 metre of your background fabric. You've got more there than you need to make the
Should we
runner.
show everyone what we're making? There we go. It's
the
up there.
runner.
Runner 3 ways.
I wanted to have a go at doing a Dresden plate. Natasha had got this beautiful stripy fabric. I remember making something that looked like a star in a workshop once with my other teachers and thought, that would work in Dresden plate. So that's what we did.
Oh, Jane, we've got the thumbs up for our pronunciation of chartreuse.
Chartreuse.
We're learning.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So, Creative Grids do a fabulous, excuse me while I move across, a fabulous set. The Dresden plate ruler on slip, 18 degree. You get the Dresden plate for the wedge shape, and you also get the template for the middle circle.
Nice.
So that takes a lot of the hassle out of it, because as always, Creative Grids make life easier. You've got 1.5 meters of each of the stripy fabrics, because for all the wool in the world, it's a little bit wasteful. Not wasteful, but you use more fabric than you would think to get the star shape, because you're going one way and then the other.
I mean, so we've put in a worst case scenario of
because
fabric
you're going to
usage.
have fabric left over which you can play with. I didn't quite use 1.5 meters to make that,
But
so
we
you're
might
going to
have-
have some left
We've
over.
put 1.5 meters in,
Yeah,
haven't we?
because
And you've
I
bound
bound
it as well.
it and put the sashing in as well, so you've got plenty of fabric to play with.
But the other thing is, you might just want to do the star one.
Yeah, and then you've got backing for a cushion, more
Yeah.
cushions, do
You might-
something else with your stripy
See,
fabric.
I kind of thought this would look lovely as a series of 3 cushions.
Yeah, it's just I wanted to have a play with stripy fabric to show you the different effects you can get with stripes, because I think sometimes stripes are a bit like, people are like, stripy fabric. They don't know what to do with it.
Well, I mean,
And
the
you-
bag behind you for a
Yeah.
start. That's what I feel like we're sorting your stripy needs.
Yeah,
Because
and
I agree with you.
Yeah, I love a stripy binding. I
Beautiful.
love doing binding with stripy fabric because I just think it adds a bit of something to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of stripy fabric because it can give you different effects if you look at it in a different way. So we're going to do that today. And then, as I say, I've just gone through and I've just picked out like one of the main stripes and put you a long quarter in with each one. So it's the midnight with this one, which is the one on the wall.
Should we show that on a close up?
On the close up.
Oh, that's so funny. Lowe's on form says, my son is called Elliot. He was going to be called Oliver or Ben, but when I gave birth, I shouted, oh my God, I've given birth to E.T.
Oh!
I can't believe you stayed with Elliot with that in mind. Oh my goodness. Ooh,
So there we
yeah.
go. This is Dakari Tides. Scion fabric, I think, isn't it? Scion.
Yeah.
Scion. I know Scion for furnishing fabrics, but they do craft cottons too, which are lovely. Mr. Fox is Scion fabric. So I put it with the midnight. It's a slightly darker shade than that blue stripe there, but it worked nicely. The navy was not quite right, so the midnight worked nice for me. I liked the dark in the middle, but you could pick out the chartreuse. Chartreuse. And then we've got art gallery fabrics. Now we know art gallery fabrics are absolutely delicious. They're
I
beautiful
wasn't going to get any
fabrics.
more stripes, Jane, and then I saw these and went, yeah.
This is Nuncia.
So that's a Pat Bravo one. I love Pat Bravo.
I picked out, it's pomegranate here, just to pick out that little bit of pink there, just whooshes it, I think. So I think that would look nice in the middle. Again, you've got substantially more than you actually need for the three middles, but you know, Natasha's nothing if not generous.
Well, you know.
This is another art gallery fabric. This is Bohemian Soul. I love that name. And we just loved. This is just pink. It's called pink. Just called pink. But it's the perfect pink.
Now, yesterday, someone charged us with trying to find the perfect pink to go with the Melba.
Lisa's panel,
Yeah. And it was that pink. Yeah.
Because we were looking at the deeper colour, weren't we? And it was a bit like,
it just wasn't quite right. And
then
actually
we put
that
one
pale
next
pink
to it,
was
and it,
beautiful with it.
just the right colour.
So if anybody wanted that. Oh, Myra's pizza dough's arrived. She said, we'll have to leave for a few minutes. Got pizza dough to ram into my freezer.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's all good. Oh, this one.
And then this is called Feelings 2. Feelings. And it's the number 2, not Feelings 2.
I got feelings too.
Yeah.
Which way does the Nuncia stripe go, says Margaret, please?
Let's have a look, Margaret. We can take that. It goes from selvage to selvage vertically. There's the selvages.
Go horizontally. Does it go a different way?
So that one goes that way. They all go that way, I think. Or does
Well,
this
see, now
one
we've
go?
asked a question.
Now you've
haven't
asked the
we?
question, yes.
Oh, Margaret, what have
yeah,
you
no, they all run
started
parallel
today?
to the selvage. Except this one. This one goes the other way.
Good question. Good
Yeah.
question, because that's
That's the
Nuncia.
selvage, and that goes down there. That's the Nuncia. But the other two...
So that goes perpendicular to the selvage, and the others all run
vertically parallel to the selvage. But you've got...
Oh, Susie's with us. She loves a Dresden plate. How's your back, Susie? Are you all right?
Oh dear, there's nothing worse than back pain.
Oh, no. I know. April says, hi, ladies. Loving this pattern and looking forward to the demo. Ooh, beautiful fabric too. April, I have to say to you, the fabrics, the Lisa Chandler ones, she is in Australia. Now, I know that for everyone from the UK who has contacted her when we've run out of stuff, she's gone, hang fire, Natasha will have it back in stock. Because I don't want you having to sort out duties and this, that and the other. Just buy it from Natasha, and we will, anything that we run out of, we will replenish with Lisa, even if it means another print run is what we're talking about with some of them. But April, you are already in Australia, so if you look up Chandler's Cottage for Lisa, then you can find her there, and then it's easier for you to get Lisa's fabric direct from her. She won't mind me saying that.
Yeah, so you've got all these lovely... I mean, this is lovely with this... It's like a gold colour, but a bit deeper, but not quite mustard. It's lovely. And there's even a little bit of sort of purpley magenta colour in there.
There is, isn't it? That looks almost brown.
Yeah. It's lovely. And I think whichever colour you put with that, you could pick out any of those colours. You've got like the minty green there. And
we nearly pulled out that minty green, didn't we? But the pink was just sort of...
The pink just set it off really nicely. So we've got those 4 colourways for you. That's the one that I did on the wall. And the one I'm going to demonstrate with is this one with the brown. It's not brown. It's chocolate. It's the only thing I'm going to get near to chocolate until Easter.
Are you? Yeah, you are. You're all about the.
Today
the
I needed chocolate. So I was like, no.
It's now not the time to tell you I've had an entire chocolate pot already this morning.
No. Well, it's lunchtime for you. It's no tea time for you, isn't it? Yeah. So you're going to get 1.5 meters of the stripe, 1 metre of the background ivory, and a long quarter of each of the
There's a lot of fabric in
coordinating
these,
yeah.
aren't there? We've put it on a little bit of a discount.
I think you've
it's
done a nice little deal, haven't you?
£31.99. I think to get a quilt project done for £31.99, it's all right.
I think it's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
Go on then, Jane.
The
show us what you do.
creative grid is well, we know, don't we? We know it's got keep this safe. It's got everything you need in the little pamphlet that comes with it. It gives you the full instructions. Should we go on a close up on that?
Yeah, it's all right. Beverly was just saying it was me. It was me that wanted the pink.
We've sorted it for you, Beverly.
We enjoy these challenges. Ali says Natasha's really good. She helped me find some mixers a while ago. Oh yeah, we will. We will be your personal shopper because we kind of enjoy it.
We can. So you've got everything on here. You don't have to use this template to do Dresden plate. You can do sort of like similar to a not tumbling blocks. That's the wrong one. Oh, what's it called? Tumbler. I think it's just called tumbler. So you could do it where you just make it into stripes and then turn it the other way. It's on here.
You sawtooth?
No, I think it's just called tumbler.
Oh, okay.
They do a tumbler ruler as well. Anyway,
yeah, they do. I think I've got it actually.
Yeah. It also gives you on here the size of the square, the finished size of the square, the finished size of the plate, and so the size of the segment. So if you were going to have I'm using a 6-inch segment. So the finished size of the plate is 14 inches. So I need a background square of 16 inches. So there's all the information there that you need to decide how big you want to do it. So if you were thinking, oh, well, I don't want to make it too big, I only want to use 8-inch squares, you'd want the 2-inch segment size. And it would be finished 6.5 and it would fit onto an 8-inch square. So all that information's there, and it goes right up to 8-inch segments, which make a 20-inch square. So there's your 20-inch cushion if you wanted just to make a cushion.
They are really good, aren't they, creative grids, with giving you
They give you all the information. They also give you pretty much, well, not that information, but everything you need to know is pretty much on the ruler as well. So everything, you know, your size of you.
Oh, I should have given you some. Do you want to grab a fabric, like the brown or something, or blue in front of you, to just hold up behind it so you can see? You've put some tape on there, haven't you?
Yeah,
just like
this is me, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But yeah, all that information is on there. So the size of of the piece of fabric you need to cut will give you that, and then you move it up, and it's just everything's on there. All the instructions are in here. You get your circular template, which also has instructions on it as well. They've got the grippy dots on so they don't move. This makes your middle, and also if you want to have the circular edges, so it looks like a flower,
you can trim
you
them
use
off with
this
that,
to do it, and I'll go through that as well. So now, because I wanted to make that star shape, I knew that I needed to have a 60-degree angle on the ruler. And I'll just show you quickly how I went about putting that 60-degree angle on there. It's just a piece of masking tape. On your ruler, you have got a 60-degree line here.
Yeah, you have.
So let me just double check. Yeah, this is what I did. I have to remember what I did. This is the sort of morning I'm having. I placed, let me move this just out of the way.
Well, the other thing is, Jane, is that you did this like a week ago. A lot has happened since then.
Yeah, we've had all sorts of things going on. So you've got a centre line down the middle of your ruler here. This is the dead on centre of the ruler. So I placed that on one of the vertical, well, it's the horizontal lines. Depending on how you look at your ruler, I tend to look at mine the length of the ruler. So if I had my ruler facing that way, that's how I tend to look at my ruler, because we cut along the longest edge. So the horizontal line of your ruler along this 60-degree line here, placed it on that line, and then put a piece of masking tape along that line. Mm-hmm. Now, to do the star shape, you need to sort of mirror image your stripe. So you need to have the angle going the other way as well. So you turn your ruler around and you do exactly the same thing.
So you end up with a
Line it
cross.
up, so you end up with this little cross here. That just helps you when you line. I know you line that line up then with the stripe on the fabric. So that's why it's got, and it's only masking tape. So if I do this just to see what it's like, if we have a go at it, decide we don't like it, we can pull the masking tape off, and you never have to darken your door again.
So this is the thing. This is like, you don't have to use the ruler like this. This is me. This is
playing.
extending it, because actually, as soon as you've got a stripe, you can do some quite exciting things with it. And you're very clever at seeing these things that I just don't, which is why you do Witchy Wednesday, Witchy Stitchy Wednesday.
So you can see here that we've got the wedges and the stripes going at that 60 degree, and it goes one way and then the other way. And I thought, I'll show you about finishing the tops off as well, and I'll do a little bit about how you apply it to the backing fabric as well. So it might be a little bit rushed, but I'm going to take my time with the 60 degree one, and then I'll talk about the other ways of doing things. So for the 60 degree, in the instructions, when you're doing the straightforward, which is what I did for the stripe, the vertical stripes, which give you that
lovely daisy look.
Yeah, and it's like a bit psychedelic, I think, really, because I didn't worry about too much where I placed the line on the ruler on the stripy fabric. I used the offcuts really from the star, so they're all different, and I just put them together, and I just picked up random ones. So it's completely random, and it looks quite nice, and it reminds me, when I was a little girl, we used to have a painting set, and it's spun, and you drop paint on it and it's splattered out. Oh. It was like spirograph, but it wasn't spirograph, but it was a similar principle. The turntable spun round, you drop paint on it, and then it spludged out. So you could get effects like that. And then the one on the right hand side, as we're looking at it, that's done with the stripe just vertical.
Right.
And when you do the very basic cutting of, let me just get a piece of the offcut. You cut your stripe to the piece of fabric. I mean, you don't have to do it with stripy fabric, you can do it with different colours.
If you just have to delve into your stash, because today we've got stripes.
So I wanted the stripe going horizontally. So you would cut your width of fabric. I used a 6-inch strip for mine. So if I cut a 6-inch strip,
Elizabeth said, oh, Jane, we had one of those paint sets. I don't know what I feel like I've missed out.
And I think it's a 1970s thing, and you have just
I snuck in at the end. I did sneak in at the end, the very, very end.
I'm just going to cut, if I just cut a 6-inch strip, and I'll just show you quickly. This is the very straightforward way that Creative Grids work the ruler, and you can do this with any fabric, and this is how you would do it if you were doing it with like a plain or a pattern or whatever you wanted to do.
Helen says, is there a pattern available for the kit? Helen, the pattern is the Creative Grid.
The Creative Grid.
Because it's got all the instructions
I didn't
there.
write any instructions because
Creative Grids have done it.
The Creative Grids have done it. The only difference is that, as I say, I've used this 60-degree angle on the ruler. The principle of using the ruler, even with a 60-degree, is exactly the same as any other. It's a bit like fussy cutting. There's a section in the instructions here about fussy cutting, so I'll go through it with you, but that's all in there as well.
Oh, April says, oh, so sad, just purchased the Dresden ruler, which definitely made a difference. However, didn't come with the circular template. So currently looking around my sewing room to find an alternative. Should have waited and got a Creative Grid. Also, thanks for the fabric info, as I will look locally.
I have just cut this at 5.5 because I've gone the wrong side. This is where you should pay attention to your ruler. So I'm going to cut it down now to 5, just because it makes it easier. So if you would cut a width of fabric strip, you might want to use two fabrics, 2 colours to get an alternative. This is the very basic Dresden plate. So for a 5-inch strip, I'm going to take these off and I'll reposition them in a minute.
Oh, no, it's okay, because Rebecca had one of the paint wheels as well, and she was born in the 80s.
Oh, right.
I'm going to tell my mum and dad that I had a deprived childhood.
Obviously, yeah.
Clearly.
So what you would do...
We can all see that, right?
Yeah. It's a 5-inch. So the number in circles is the width of your fabric, the height of your plate, your wedge, if you like. So it's 5 inches. I did 6, but I've just cut this strip wrong, so I've gone back down to 5. So 5 inches, you're going to cut your first cut on the right hand side, and then you'll turn your fabric round so that we don't cut across ourselves. Line that back up across there, and you will cut on that side. Move that out of the way, and then you flip your ruler around again, and you're basically just cutting up and down, but by flipping your ruler each time, lining up the 5 mark on your ruler. And that's the one that gave me the horizontal stripe that gives you quite an interesting example going through there. That should go on that side. If you want to, I concentrated on one stripe on have a look at your stripy fabric and see where it comes to, because you've got different stripes, and all of these fabrics, they've got different width stripes. Yeah. So you can have a look at it and choose a focal point, if you like.
For sure, for sure.
And because I'd used the midnight blue, I chose the blue as a focal point, but you might want to have a look at it and change it round. But you can see it forms quite an interesting pattern when it goes round horizontally.
Can you just point out behind you which one it is that would give that effect?
That's the horizontal one there.
That one.
And I alternated those with a pointed end and a curved end. Now, if you're going to do that, you need to reduce the curved sized one, the width of that, by 1 inch.
Okay. Because
I'll show you in a minute when I come to the finishing the ends, what happens when you do the point and all of that. So the vertical one, again, it was just because I got fabric left over, I literally just lined the line up there. Again, I cut the strip to the width I wanted my wedges to be, and I lined up the line in the middle with one of the stripes and just cut it. And again, you can alternate that. I'd got offcut, so I was just plonking it on and cutting it as I went. But if you wanted to do it in an organised fashion, cut yourself a width of fabric and use your stripes going vertically.
Like it, I have to say.
You can get some it gives you lots of interesting. It's having a play with it, really. And
well, this is the thing, isn't it?
And not being too precious about your I know it's easy for me because Natasha gives me the fabric, so I haven't invested money into the fabric, but I invest time into it. But being able to just play with it and not being too precious about the fabric, not overthinking it too much sometimes.
Okay, so the worst case scenario is the one on the end, the really pretty one on the end.
Yeah.
Where you haven't done any special placement, you've just popped it on, cut it, and away you go.
I just cut a load of wedges out of the offcuts, put them in a pile, and just sewed them together.
We've done Dresden plates where we've done them alternate colours, where we've done a rainbow going all the way round.
Yeah.
And the only reason that this is slightly different today is just that we've chosen a stripy fabric. So this is the joy of your creative grid. What you've invested in is more than one set of instructions. You've invested in something you can actually create all sorts of things. Because I said to you, the Melba stripe with the actual flowers running through. Could you imagine if you positioned and fussy cut?
Yeah.
So that you had different flowers running through? It'd be phenomenal.
It would be absolutely
phenomenal. So it's just every fabric you use is going to give you such a different feel. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And that's why the Dresden plate is one of those ones. It's iconic. Everybody's heard of it. It's up there with your log cabins, isn't it? And things like that.
Yeah.
The basic ones that everybody's heard of. It's one of those.
Yeah. I showed you how to do this, and now I'm like, why is it not working this time? This is what happens to me. I have this mental block and I just do it. And I was talking to you and I went, yeah, you do this and then you do that. And now I've come to do it. I'm like, what have I done?
Lay it horizontally, you said.
Yeah, I did it on that one.
And then spin it round.
Spin it round and do it the other way and it's still on the same. I think I had to turn it and flip it over. Yeah, that's it.
Myra's back from stuffing her dough into the freezer and she says, oh my god, I've got over 200 Dresden wedges sitting beside my sewing machine shouting, Myra, sew me!
Yes!
Or maybe we can inspire you to do that.
I've got one that I'm doing by hand. I love it. It's just in my bag and I just pick it up and do a bit occasionally.
I love that. So when you're not working, you're still working.
Well, sort of.
But it's
not
play,
working,
isn't it?
is it?
It's all good. Oh, Margaret had pizza last night and it was delish. Good. Good, good, good. These are the Wedding Pizza Company ones.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, or DIY Pizza Company ones. He's got two businesses. One does weddings, pizzas for weddings, and one does, it was the DIY one. It's all good.
It's all good. Right, let me just check what I'm doing here. That's it. I've cut, we're going to do the 60-degree one now. I've cut my strip slightly bigger than I want my wedge because of the 60-degree. Yeah. So decide what you want, size wedge you want, and then place your ruler on the stripe. Now you can see the masking tape line is running parallel to the stripe there. And you can see I've got the bottom of the ruler there, and so it comes to the 7 on there, which is why I cut a 7-inch stripe.
Right.
Just because I didn't want to waste too much fabric, although I've had a good job at doing that this morning. It's like,
we have days like that though, don't we? We just have days.
The rotating cutting mat will be your friend for this, for doing it this way. And also, you know, if you don't want to keep flipping the ruler, you could use your rotating cutting mat to turn it round to flip it when you were doing the ordinary one. Have a look at your stripe fabric. Pick the piece of the pattern that you want to concentrate on, and I chose the brown stripe for mine. It's got a wider stripe on one side and a narrow on the other, and I deliberately chose to have the narrow stripe on the right hand side. This is quite important if you want a fairly uniform star.
Right, okay.
Because it keeps the pieces in the same place.
Right. So pick a point.
Pick a point and try and stick to it.
Okay.
The other thing is to look at where, on here I've already cut it, but look at where your 1/4 inch mark falls on your ruler. Just because each time you cut the wedge, you can then make sure that point's lined up as well as this point here.
Right, I see.
It just helps to keep you going in the same direction and everything matching up. It's going to be a little bit off in places, but if you've got the main focal point right, your eye doesn't see any other little mismatches or seams.
Of course.
You're better off using a smaller rotary cutter with this ruler, just because it's easier to manoeuvre, and particularly when you're cutting around the circle.
Yeah, it's always easier.
It's easier with that. I mean, you could draw around the circle and then cut it round with scissors if you feel, you know, you haven't got a small one and you feel that you haven't at the moment got the resources to buy one. But it saves you time, obviously. If you've got a template and you can cut around it, that's what you can do. So you'll cut your first, making sure you've got it lined up. You cut your first line along the edge of the template and then turn, and I always put all of my fabric on and then turn it round just so that the fabric doesn't drag and move the template.
Yeah,
it
because
doesn't
that's
matter
the whole reason that you're rotating it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just to keep it in one place.
Keep it in one place. So then you do the next cut all the way down, oops, making sure you keep to the edge of the template, and then cut across that bit there. I don't cut across that when it's down there because you're cutting unsafely, I feel. You're going to be cutting towards yourself, so you don't want to do that.
Spin.
Cut it at the top. Now this is the point, and it tells you about this in the instructions for fussy cutting. I want a 6-inch wedge.
Right.
On my 6 there, in the circle, there's a number next to it.
Right.
And it says number 3.
Right.
Number 3 is here. So what you do is you move your template across, so the 1/4 inch dotted line is against the edge of your fabric, like so. And then you slide your ruler down until the bottom of your wedge is on the 3. That's there.
Right.
So the 1/4 inch mark is against the edge of the fabric,
Yeah.
and the 3 now is at the bottom there.
Right.
And then you cut across the top.
Do you?
And that gives you your 6-inch wedge.
Oh.
And that is the magic of creative grids. They just put everything on there that you need to get it the right size.
That's so clever. I mean, we've already got Elizabeth saying, oh, such excellent detail with your instructions that us mere mortals wouldn't even consider. And Ali saying, don't forget Jane is the fabric witch. She is. She is.
Now I've got quite a few wedges facing all that way, so I'm now going to show you how to do them in the opposite direction. Now if you remember, I'd got the wider strip on the left and the narrower strip on the right. So I now need my wedge to go in the opposite direction. Unfortunately, this is what you would do is you would cut one strip and you would cut all of the ones going one way, and then you get another strip and you cut all the others going the other way.
Right.
I found out after I'd made a lot of wastage, because I'd got things like all of that going on, which is why we ended up with the stripy one like that, because it was a good way of using up your leftover bits.
Just you can make the mistake so that we don't have to, Jane.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you were doing this, then you'd cut one strip one way.
Yeah, I'd have one strip and I'd cut all the pieces. You get 20 for this Dresden plate. It's made up of 20 wedges.
Wow. Okay.
So you'd want
Really? There's 20 in there.
Yeah.
Good
You'd
grief,
need
woman.
to cut. You can make them wider if you wanted to. I'm not sure how the middle would fit in if you made them wider, if you started cutting at a wider base and just use the top. They're in inch increments.
Oh, I love it.
So you could do that. But this is designed for 20. Makes up a quarter. 5 make up a quarter. So I'm going to, my other line that I've marked on here, I'm going to line it up with that brown line. And again, I've got the 1/4 inch on the edge of that blue there, like I had on the previous ones. And I'm doing more or less the same thing. I'm just free cutting that bit there at the bottom and then lining it up with my ruler and going across.
Geraldine says, OMG, you never cease to amaze me, Jane. I never knew I could do this with this ruler, or that with this ruler even. Thank you. See, that's just it.
It's just because I can, because
You see things differently.
well,
I like that.
I've got, thanks to Natasha, I've got all these resources at my fingertips. She's got the creative grid rulers, she's got the fabric, and she says to me, design something for Wednesday. So I just
Immediately, if
I
not
just like-
sooner.
it's a terrible job. It's really hard work, I tell you. I don't
No
know,
one's
it's
feeling
like-
any sympathy for you, Jane. I'll
I
tell you that.
know. So
They
we
do
go,
think you might have some chocolate withdrawal though, so we'll sort that out. And Naomi says, this is fascinating. I've never done Dresden plate. I've put the Creative Grid template on my wish list. Do it, do it, do it. We stock quite a range of creative grids, and if there's ever a creative grid that you want, and you don't think that we stock it, just drop us a little email, info@natashamakes.com. We'll get it in for you.
Yeah.
If we can, we will. For sure.
so again, I've just taken my ruler across so that the 1/4 inch mark is lined up with the edge of the fabric, and because I'm doing 6-inch wedges, the number next to it is 3, so I've gone down to 3 on the line there and then cut across the top. And this is where you put them together and it doesn't match up like so. Let's try it with the one that we did before. No, it's not going to.
Oh,
You get the idea.
there it is.
But it's not matched up like I wanted it to on those. Let me just look at my... It could be the way that I've cut the fabric. That's that one that way, this way. This way, this way.
This is
Do
the
you know
thing,
what?
isn't it? You've done half your show prep, and
Yeah.
then you've had to stop. If you'd have cut that in one if you just kept going, wouldn't you?
Yes.
And it wouldn't have been a problem.
Now, what I did was I didn't read my own instructions on my ruler.
Oh, Jane. What, the instructions, what come with the ruler?
No, the ones that I wrote on my ruler. I put on here right and on here left. Now, that's because that needs to be on the left-hand side of the strip and this side needs to be on the right-hand side, and I think I cut it on the left. So let's just try again.
Jane, I like that this makes you human.
We all have days, don't we, where it doesn't quite go the way that you've planned it to.
Oh, and I see Karen has stopped watching the cricket and says, I've been so frightened of the Dresden plate, but Jane has explained it all so well that I think I might have to give it a go. Thank you. It's one of those ones, if you are scared, just get 2 plains and alternate your plain colours.
Yeah.
It'll still look phenomenal. It'll look like a beautiful daisy. And then you could always just start by alternating the finish to the tops. You might do 1 pointy top, 1 curved top, 1 pointy top, 1 curved top. And you
Which
could
is
just
what I
start
did
by
with the,
giving that, yeah. So that it's such a versatile ruler, and that's why I love it, because you could have a whole array of cushions and each one be slightly different, but all made with exactly the same ruler. It's perfect.
This is what happens when you're moving it around. This is why it's best to cut all of them one way and all of them the other way. Because I've been moving the fabric round, I've flipped the fabric round and not got it in the same.
I believe it's called discombobulating yourself.
Yeah.
Which is a word that people should use more often, quite frankly.
One of those words.
And Geraldine says, well, you've just done a different design. It's still lovely.
Yeah. Well, it makes the stripe. It's just not a regular stripe. You don't get the star effect. I mean, and actually, when I was playing with it, when I put them all the same direction and put them round,
ooh,
it creates something equally as
oh, I quite like that. Can
gorgeous.
we do that one?
I mean, look at that. That is a lovely effect as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's going to give it totally... That you've just done a 4th star, a fourth version.
Option. Yeah. It does work because I've done it, and I've done it twice now, because you can see that quarter that I've made, and you can see the one that I've actually made. It just...
So, okay.
Something I'm doing today is...
The learning from today is cut all out at the same time.
Yeah.
Don't stop halfway through.
Yeah, and don't switch halfway through. Because when I first did it, I thought, oh, I know, I can do one way, do one the other. And that's when I realised I was wasting a lot of fabric. Let me just try one more time.
I hate it when you get a mental block as well.
The thing is, I came in here this morning and I went, did it. And then I was like trying to work out what I just done. And I was like, what have I done? How did I do it?
I don't know, but if you just take a little step to your right, then it works as quite a nice bonnet on your head.
You must have a halo.
A little halo or even a little beret. I don't know how we keep managing to place these things so beautifully. Elizabeth said, yes, this is why I have a note on the door saying sort of I'm busy, but he still rattles the door handle.
Still rattles.
It's like having children.
There we go, look. There we go.
There you go. What did you do differently?
I just stopped thinking about it.
Were you overthinking?
I think probably yes, because this is what happens, isn't it?
Yeah. Lo says you've not had cake. Not having cake always messes with anything. Yeah. Yeah. See? That's the general consensus.
It's what happens.
Is that cake or chocolate is required.
like,
You're thinking again, aren't
yeah,
you?
stop it. Just do
You're
it. Just
fine
watch
when
me
you
while
didn't
Natasha
think.
talks, and then it'll be fine.
Oh.
You see, that's the
talking.
wrong piece again. But
Well,
I've got
either
the
way.
it doesn't matter because I've got the brown stripe in the right
Oh,
place.
look at that.
So
Hang on,
even
Jen,
if
you're
the brown
getting a
stripe will create the right pattern.
You're getting a secondary at the top as well, which is
Yeah.
rather nice.
You get lots of different, but
Should
it does work. You just have to think about it a little bit and just take your time.
Nice. Nice.
And write notes on a piece of paper so you know where you were when you were cutting it, which bit of the stripe and which side of the stripe. That maybe helps as well.
Lo says try poking your tongue out. That helps
Yeah.
too. In that very attractive manner that I generally tend
Yeah,
to do.
that's the one I use normally.
You
It's
know-
like, I like to do that.
Oh,
with
do
that,
you
yeah.
chew the side of your mouth?
I'm a pull my lip in person.
You know when something's gone wrong with me because I go quiet and stick my tongue out.
Yeah, concentration.
Yeah,
Helps you
yeah,
concentrate.
yeah.
But you get the idea that you can create amazing variations and different things.
I
on
kind of
there.
like, and I know that you'll be cross at yourself because you'll think it hasn't gone perfectly, but actually, I like that we found another design.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what you get. Elizabeth says, "Quick, Natasha, nab the scraps for your EPP pouch."
And you've got big pieces in there, and we all know that we'll use these for something, even if it, just your hexagons or your diamonds for your EPP. You're going to, again, a stripy fabric with a hexagon or an EPP, you can create beautiful.
It never even
things.
occurred to me that I could do that. You are so right. Geraldine said, "I like the design you did by accident. I
Yeah,
can see a
this
pointed
is
star
lovely.
in the cream colours."
Yeah, it does. It makes
yeah.
lovely things going on. So we'll talk now about constructing it. I haven't got enough to make a full one, but we'll make a half, and then I can show you about joining it, and I'll show you about appliquing it onto your square, how you work that out.
Nice.
So to make the pointed end, it's very straightforward. You fold your wedge in half along the length.
Yeah.
Just finger press it slightly, and you sew 1/4 inch across the top.
Diane knows where you went wrong. You didn't write it in your quilt planner.
That's exactly it.
That's the one.
Exactly what it was, Diane. You're right.
Those
So
quilt planners do look nice.
they are lovely. I had a look through and I was like, I think I need one of these in my life. I just do a close up on that, Natasha,
Yeah,
and we
of
can
course
just
you
show. So I've just literally folded it in half along the length of the wedge and sewn 1/4 inch across the top. I'm going to snip a little bit out of that where the fold is, against the fold, not right on the line of stitches, but in the seam allowance. Just snip some of that out of the way. And then you take your wedge and you push it through.
Oh, maybe you could use my little seam easer.
Yeah. And you just poke that through. And because I cut that little bit off, it just reduces the bulk at the top, so you get quite a nice point.
Should we show the point?
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, you'll have got a seam at the back here, and you've got a fold line there. So just try and make sure that you've got your seam and your fold line lined up. That way you know that, particularly when you're doing this on the 60 degree, you know that you've got the same size on there. I'm just going to poke that up at the top there slightly. That's it. That's a nice crisp point. I'm quite happy just finger pressing at this point. I'm not too bothered about pressing, but if you want to take it to your iron and press it down nice and crisp and flat, you can do that. So you'll do that with all of your wedges.
Jill has a solution on the chocolate front for you during Lent.
Yeah.
You know we've got the Lewis and Irene half meter heaven.
Oh yeah, the one that smells of
chocolate.
chocolate. I think that's a bit hard.
We've never shown that on the show, you know.
Really?
No, we never. I've just realised we never have. It went out as a half metre heaven before we started showing everyone the half metre heavens.
Yes.
So if you look at the half metre heavens, it's up and it's loaded. It's peachy, isn't it? It's pretty. It's peachy.
It's a lovely fabric, but the fact that it smells of chocolate is like, what?
And it stays in for I don't know how. That's Hannah.
I think
that
it's
is. That'll-
guaranteed for about 5 washes.
Yeah, something
which
like that.
in quilt making you don't wash
Your
very
quilts that
often, so
But
it's
you'll
going to last you a
snuggle
while.
down underneath and it will smell amazing.
Yeah.
Which is just superb. That'll be Hannah. That'll be her. She'll have had a hand in that. Yeah, exactly that, Elizabeth. The fabric smells of chocolate. Lo's given up dieting for Lent. I don't know. The thing is, and someone said this to me the other day, and I will support you, Jane. You know I will. When you're no chocolate for Lent situation. But then there are those that are thinking, you know, if you can find a pleasure in life right now,
Yes.
don't give it up.
That's
For goodness
right.
sake, just do more of it.
Yeah.
But we will support
there
you.
There is a thinking in the church now, rather than giving up something, you do something that you wouldn't normally do, like voluntary work, or, you know, doing something that you would not normally do that can help others.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's equally
So
as
giving back
rather than you know,
rather than taking
denying
away.
yourself anything, which is a lovely thing to do
I
as well.
like that. I like that at all. Oh, hi, Francis.
So you will do all your wedges like so. I like the point because I thought that carried on the star effect. And then when you come to join your wedges, you'll join them together in pairs. And when you've got the stripe like this, because I wanted to make sure that that is my focus stripe, I just made sure that bit there was lined up.
Oh, down the middle?
Yeah, on that part there. I wasn't too worried what was going on down here because I knew it was going to be covered with the circle. Obviously, if it was like a great big piece, 1/4 of an inch or whatever, I would be worried. But if just a few threads or even 1/8 of an inch, it doesn't matter because that will cover over with your centre circle.
Away up. Gemma's given Inga tuck shop money to go down to the post office with. So
It's obviously that sort of day today.
What Gemma, I don't know if Gemma remembers when I took over the tuck shop at school. I don't know, I'll have to ask her. I'd forgotten that I had a Fiat Panda. I had a little Fiat Panda Dance 900, which you had to sort of get out and push uphill.
Oh.
And it was like driving around a tin can. I loved her so much. She had orange, yellow and purple striped seats. It was like sitting in a deck chair. And if you'd had a drink the night before, you really did need sunglasses because it was a bit loud.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things you'd be like, oh, you'd get passengers getting in and you'd been out the night before with them and they'd be like, really? Your seats are loud. Not a problem for me because I'd have been driving.
Yeah.
But so it was always just one of those things. But so it was given to me to do the tuck shop because I was one of the only ones with a car at that stage because I passed my test very early on. And so I could drive to Booker Cash and Carry. We used to put the seats down on the back, stuff in. They'd never had such a stuffed tuck shop as when I ran it. It was great. Anyway, we digress.
You would join your
nice.
wedges into pairs, join 2 pairs together and then add the 5th one on. Or if you wanted to join them into pairs, you just join 3 and then 4 to make your half and then join your 2 halves together. Press your seams all in the same direction.
Oh, so they sort of flow around a bit like your ones on your mat.
Yeah, so that you can see they'll all go in the same way, and that way they'll all lie flat. This is for the pointy version. So if you're going to do circular tops on your...
Oh, that looks so pretty.
On your top, you'll join them, you do the circle, cut the circle bit before you join them together. So you would fold your wedge in half again. Just when you're folding this, just be careful, because with the 60 degree, not with the others, but with the 60 degree, it is a little bit on a bias, so you can stretch it.
Oh, well, then you just need your starch savvy,
Yeah,
don't you?
starch savvy. Your circle template that comes with your kit.
Oh, what that April's so envious of, because hers didn't. Soz April. She waited.
You'll have to buy some template plastic and make your own.
Yes, we've got template plastic on the show, along with an array of pens and other goodies.
Yeah. So if you were doing it with template plastic, obviously you can't put your rotary cutter against it, but you could mark it with your fabric marker and then use scissors or your rotary. I don't advise free motion rotary cutting unless you're doing a particular pattern, but I would use scissors once I'd marked it. So with your rotary, what you're going to do, the circle is divided into 4. You line up the halfway line and line it up with the edge of the top of your fabric, and then cut that along the template like so. This is why the little rotary cutter is so handy.
We've got replacement blades as well for the Iddly Diddly 18-inch now as well.
And that makes your template like that.
Nice.
Which gives you a lovely nice curve on there.
So just make sure that you line everything up.
It's lining everything up. It's like Creative Grids have thought of it all, haven't they?
Well, they've got the designing for quilters, which
yeah, they've got the marks
starter.
there. They've got everything done for you. It's just folding the wedge in half, just finger pressing that down.
I see Susan and Fiona. They've got a lovely idea. Susan says, I saw a post with regard to Lent in putting together a bag for a food bank or similar, using
Yes.
items that you would like to be given, so not just any old things, not just like your packet noodles.
Yeah, some sort of pampery type things.
Yeah. And Fiona says, I'm doing this each day through Lent, similar to the alternative advent calendar.
Yeah, the reverse
That's
advent
really
calendar.
Lovely. Yeah.
Instead of opening a window, you put an item of food into a box. So at the end of Advent, you've got 24 items that you can then donate to a food bank, which is a lovely idea.
I mean, you could do it for food banks. You could do it for the cat's protection. Could
Yeah,
you do
you
anything?
could,
Because they're
anything
saying
like
the
that.
number of animals that are now coming in
Well,
to
this
shelter.
is it. Yeah.
It's because as they say now, a puppy isn't just for life. It's for Christmas or lockdown.
Yeah,
it's for life.
They were saying this, they were saying, people have had pets because they've been at home, but then now they're all starting to go back to work and whatever.
Which was
where
always
the
gonna
pet's
happen.
going to go. So you've got all your wedges there. Now, for the one I used the horizontal line, I alternated wedges with points. So as you can see, if I did that with, they're both 6-inch high wedges, but you could see if I left that like that, that wedge would be so much higher, even with the seam allowance tucked under.
Yeah.
So I reduced the size of the wedge down by 1 inch.
Right.
So for the ones, 10 of the wedges, because it's 20 in there, 10 of them, I reduced those down by 5.
From the top of the bottom.
You line it, take it down, don't you? So because that was at 6 there, I just took it down 1 more, which would be.
And does everything still line up nicely?
Yeah, once you've got that 1/4 inch turned under, it works.
Lovely. Lovely, lovely.
Let's just do that on there. I'll just show you because it will.
Myra says, I love a Dresden. Think it's the easiest quilt to make or cushion. It makes up so fast and so pretty. In fact, it was the first cushion cover I ever made. Is that why you've got 200 ready to sew, Myra? That's dedication for a cause. I would actually love to do a whole quilt with this. Could you imagine doing a rainbow one?
Yes.
And just doing
different
each
shades
one
of colours.
Yeah. You could do each one. You could do red and orange for the first one, then orange and yellow, then yellow into green, and you could do it.
If you can see that, I've just cut that down.
Oh, well, they would if I hadn't just changed the camera angle,
sorry.
Jane. No, it's me. It's not you.
I cut it down, and that's just 1/4 inch proud there, but that's okay because obviously I'm going to be turning that under 1/4 inch, and I'm going to show you now how to do the curved top.
Nice.
So a bit of wadding. I used my ironing board, but a bit of wadding is perfect. we've got the Slow Line Trio pens, and they've got a tracer pen on there. You've got your 2 colours and your tracer.
We've got 2 different types. So
Yeah.
there's one that has pink, white and black.
Yeah.
And that's one trio with the 3 different colours. Or there's this one, and someone tried to send it back because they said there wasn't any ink in the biro.
It looks like a biro.
No, it's not meant to be. It's a tracer.
Yeah.
And if you use it with like your copy paper, if you're
Yes.
dressmaking, then it's great for say putting that carbon through onto tracing off your
Yeah.
dressmaking patterns. But it's also very handy for this, isn't
Yeah,
it, Jane?
and it's also good for quilting as well. If you want to mark a line or a squiggle on your quilt without using any fabric marker, you can use that and it
Perfect.
forms a crease. So they're
Perfect.
very handy for quite a lot of things. You've got, because you folded this in half when you cut the curve, you've got a line down the middle of your wedge, which you can line up with your line on your circle. Now, I know where a 1/4 inch is on, because I know what a 1/4 inch looks like, but if you're uncertain, you can always just place the 1/4 inch mark there on there and just make a mark.
You've got
on
1/4
your-
inches all over the place,
Yeah.
haven't you, with creative goods? They're
So
very
you
good
can
like
line it back up there, and then with your tracer, you'll just trace round the edge of that circle, and you've got your crease line there. Now, I've just skipped ahead here because actually what you need to do is you need to sew them together first.
Is that why you've done it on wadding though? So
Yeah, because it gives you that cushion which goes into the fabric. It
Right.
won't, if I try to do it on my cutting mat, it doesn't really give me a line.
I'm with you.
It's not as obvious.
No, it makes total sense.
But you can see, if we go close up on that,
Oh, yeah.
you can
Keep trying
see
to press the
on,
wrong buttons today, Jane. I'm so sorry.
on there, it's already started to bring the fabric in by having it on the wadding. Whereas I've got a crease line from the cutting mat, but it's still flat.
Okay,
So-
wadding it is.
The wadding just gives you that little bit more and starts to bring the fabric in ready for you. But you would do that point after you'd sewn your wedges together. Sorry, I just skipped ahead there, got overexcited.
That's right, you're allowed to get overexcited.
So when you do the curved one and you sew them together the same way, sew them in pairs and then sew the pairs together.
Ooh. Penelope's got, I have a Who Gave What gift book that goes back to 1998. She's very useful.
She's got a what, sorry?
Who Gave Who What gift?
Oh, that's a good idea. I write down what I give people at
Do you?
Christmas. Yes, just so that I don't give aunties the same smellies that I gave them the year before, because it's very easy, isn't it, to give people just, you know, pretty toiletries. You can end up giving people the same gift, which isn't very nice.
Unless they really love it.
Well, yes, unless you know it's their favourite.
I have a perfume that I'd be really happy if people gave me every year. Every year. It was weirdly, it was one that Brandon said to me, oh, you'd smell nice in.
Yeah.
And I went on a flyer and I was like, oh, because he's got a really good nose. He used to be a chef. And he's just got a really good nose for things.
Yeah.
And he was right, and I absolutely adore it. And the next time I saw him, I happened to be wearing it when I went down to interview Kaif, and he's like, yep, does suit you, doesn't it? The minute I walked in, first thing he said.
Yeah. Isn't that
Oh,
lovely?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's lovely.
They've got a new book coming out, Jane.
Oh, I know.
I've had a little look, and I might have to go
exciting.
and chat to them about it somehow, somewhere.
Now you can see with the circular ones,
Ooh,
I've
yeah.
pressed the seam open.
Yes.
And this is because when you do that marking of the seam allowance to turn it over, it makes it easier, and again it helps it to lie flatter. So we'll just do that.
Oh, Myra, bless you. She said the face coverings I made, and I've made hundreds, gave them out free and asked that they put food in the food bank box next time they're at a supermarket.
Oh, that's a lovely idea.
Yeah. Perfect. That's really lovely, isn't it? Is that giving back, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
a little something to give back.
Pay it forward type of thing. Let's just get the other one on to make a quarter, and then it will look something like.
Oh, is this with the accidental pattern?
Yeah.
I
So
rather
we can
like
see
it.
what it looks like. Oh, I cut this one down, didn't I? No, we can't use that. So yeah, you would mark your seam allowance once you've got the whole circle done, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
On the actual pattern that comes with the Dresden plate ruler and template, it says to use a tapestry needle, which is all very well if you have a tapestry needle.
What have we got at the minute? A little mixed pot of threads.
Yeah,
where
but
you
this,
get a
I
bit
mean,
of
this
everything.
tracer just is
You've got
fine, isn't it?
options.
It's an alternative option if you like.
There's always a way, isn't there?
Yeah, there's always something that you can use.
Oh, see, Geraldine says that she can't smell her favourite perfume. She was told that the perfume must blend so well with her chemistry. I was told that if that happens, then it's the right one for you.
Yes, I'd heard somebody say that.
Yeah, well, that's what this perfume that Brandon said to me is all about, and it sort of reacts with your own molecules.
I did see some, oh, there they are, some hand sewing needles. So the curved one, you're going to need to tack it down now. And that's just to hold it in the curve. You can do, you can press it. You could take that over to your iron now and just press that over, following that crease line that you've made.
Yeah.
And the little prim iron would come in probably better for that, because it's just quite a little bit, it's quite fiddly. You might find it also better to get the unpicker out. Slide
Oh,
it
you've got to
across.
slide it across. Oh, we've worked out how to open it. Yeah, so Gemma showed me how to open it, because I thought you spun it around, but you didn't. Oh, then it's just got a thing in.
It's like a clicker, is it? Oh yeah.
I hid it for Jane, because I said, you know how you always lose your unpicker in the show? I've hidden it in the little bottom bit. The other thing that you can do with these, Jane,
Yeah.
is get your Soline glue pen,
Yes.
and you can
Just glue it down.
You can just glue it down, and then
You might just want to unpick it just at a fraction, because when you fold it over, it's just going to come apart just underneath where you put the seam line in, just slightly. It's just a V. So just those couple of stitches. And yeah, Natasha says you can use your Soline glue pen and just glue it down instead of tacking, which of course would save you a lot of time. You want to get
Helen
the
says,
curve
what's
as
the
smooth.
difference between the two hemline fabric markers, please? Is this the wash away ones? I think one you can wipe away and the other washes away as well as wipes away. I think that's the difference in them, Helen, if it's the ones that I think you are talking about.
Unless it's the one that's the trio markers, because one's with the tracer and one
They're
is not.
Soline.
They're Soline.
These are the hemline.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got a lot of pens now. Well, I thought that we were lacking, so I went shopping.
You love a bit of shopping.
I do love a bit of shopping. That's why this job is perfect for me, Jane. We've yeah, absolutely.
I didn't bother ironing mine when I was tacking mine down. I just used my finger just to fold it over, because this fabric, because it's cotton, it creases beautifully, and you can manipulate it slightly easier with your hand than you can with your iron. So I found it easier to use my fingers just to fold it over rather than trying to iron it at this point.
And then just tack it down.
And just tacked it down.
Oh, nice.
Just following the line.
Now, if you don't want to do any hand sewing, just do the pointy ones. Don't do the roundy ones.
And, you know, I quite enjoy a bit of hand sewing, and so I hand applied mine onto the background square, but you don't have to do that either. You can attach it by machine. You can just sew it by machine in the over just close to the edge.
Do you know what I've just seen as well? You know in your other star one that you've half done in front of you, at the very top, above the chocolate line, you've got hearts.
Yes. It looks like that on the blue one as well, the little blue bits.
That's really clever. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. So this is good because I feel like this is your next step on with Dresden.
It's just, you can really have good fun with it. Dresden plate is so versatile, and I think people sort of dismiss it a little bit.
Oh, they shouldn't. At their peril, I tell you. At their peril.
Okay, so that's tacked down now, and that would be ready. I would do that once I'd done the whole plate.
Right.
I would do sew the whole thing together, and then mark it, and then tack it round. So that gives you the curved shape. As I say, when I did it alternately, I did the same thing. I did one curved and one, and I tacked the curved one down before I attached it to the pointy one.
Yeah.
Whereas I've said here, do them all and then do it, tack it down. So you would have 20 wedges in your circle, in your plate, and you will have cut your background square to the size that it says in the instructions. So as I said before, I'd cut 6-inch wedges, and so my finished plate was 14 inches, and so I needed a 16-inch finished block size. Now that's finished block size, so you need to add your seam allowance onto there.
Yeah.
So add 1/2 inch to that for your seam allowance. And you'll have your square, and you'll have a full circle, and you just fold your square into quarters, just so that you can find the middle of the square on the sides. As I said, you've got 5 wedges into a quarter of the block.
Mm-hmm.
So that will sit within that quarter of the square, like so. So you line up your middle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you'll have 5 that side. So it would look like that. You just line that up with the middle, either side, and then line up the sides with the side one, and then you'll know that your circle is exactly in the middle of your square.
Yeah.
As I said, you can pin it on, and then pin it onto your square, and you can decide then whether you want to just have a nice little bit of hand stitching and use an applique stitch.
Right, yeah.
To apply it to your square, or you can machine sew it down. So if I'm going to put that, if I just pop that one on there, that would be probably the right place.
Oh, what's that for if you did, the other one?
Yeah, so that's your circular one. So if you wanted to machine stitch it down, you would just take it just inside, and you could use a button stitch if you wanted, blanket stitch.
Nice.
That would give you an effect. You could use one of your embroidery stitches and have a nice effect. You could just go on the inside of it with your machine just on the inside, just to hold it down. Whatever you fancy doing, really. If you want to sew it by hand, you just need to do an applique stitch. Now an applique stitch is a little bit different than what's the slip stitch. Just slightly different to slip stitch because you don't really want to see the actual stitch. So you come in from the back of your fabric, and you'll just catch the edge of your
Oh, we're just catching your head at the minute. Hang on,
Let me just, should we go close up on that?
yeah, go on.
This needle's a little bit thick, really. You could probably done with a finer one.
Oh, I've got a whole load in the other room. Do you want one? Do you want
Yeah,
me to?
we'll use this one for now. It's fine.
Okay.
It'll show up as well because it's black. It's black on the
That
edge.
was sort of partly why I got them, and plus Gemma's got nickel allergies, so it worked for her, these ones.
Just comes just in on that fold of this of the fabric. So we come through there, and what? Put a knot in it, but not big enough. And with a applique stitch, if you were doing a slip stitch, you would just sort of go in next. But with an applique stitch, you actually go directly opposite, a bit like a ladder stitch, where you came in, but slightly behind your fabric.
Right.
And this, if we can get a finer one, smaller one, there we go, that's finer. It's all gone quiet.
No, I'm watching. So yeah.
So I've done a knot. I've got a finer needle. There we go. So you're going directly opposite where you came out in the hem, but slightly underneath your fabric directly. So it forms like a little line, if you like.
Okay.
And then you go along, not far, just a little bit, and you come up again and you do the same thing. So it's like little straight stitches, but they're so tiny that you can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go along and straight down. And it just forms little tiny, I don't know if you probably won't be able to see them on here, but they're little tiny straight stitches there, and there. But on the back of your work, they go in like a very slight diagonal across.
Okay.
But that's an applique stitch, and it just holds your fabric tight. If you do a slip stitch, if I show a slip stitch, where you don't go directly opposite, you just go across a little bit, it can pull your work.
Right, okay.
And so sort of distorts slightly. I don't know if I'll be able to get it to do it on this because it's such a lovely fabric. But you also see the stitch as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can see it. It's done it a little bit, but you can see it's pulled it slightly and it sort of gives it a rounded edge, whereas the applique stitch keeps it straight and in the same place.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So that's how to do it by hand, which is quite nice to have a little bit of a hand sewing sometimes. And not everybody likes it, I know, but I like hand stitching my binding down as well. I find that quite
See, Gemma
relaxing.
loves doing this as well, doesn't she? She's
and
like,
it's
it
sitting there
gives
with a
me an
warm
excuse
quilt on
to
your knee,
sit
hand
down.
stitching it down.
Yeah.
So once you've got that applique down, you'll want to do your middle circle.
And do you do that applique stitch for that as well?
Yeah, you could applique your circle on, or you could sew it round just inside again with misting stitch, whichever you wanted. You could do buttonhole stitch, a blanket stitch, decorative. It's your template and your Dresden plate, so you can finish it, how you wish, really. So you've got your circle template. You'll cut a circle out. Now this is where you might want to use your rotary cutting mat.
Oh, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Rotating cutting mat, because we don't like cutting towards ourselves when we're cutting out. But because you've got this lovely circular template, you can use it with the rotary cutter.
You know what else you can do with that template? Because has it got quarters on?
It goes into quarters.
So you can fold your fabric into quarters.
Yeah, and do it that way.
And then you're only cutting. Then you're only ever just cutting a quarter circle away from yourself.
And you can also use it to cut quarters as well.
Yeah.
So that you've got, if you wanted to do corner Dresden plates, so they're like fans in the corner.
Nice, nice.
And then you need to make yourself. They've used freezer paper in the instructions, a 3-inch circle for the centre.
Well, we have freezer paper.
We have lots of freezer paper, and you would make yourself a circle, and you would just pull that in and iron it on to the freezer paper. So you'd have the shiny side facing upwards.
Yeah.
And you'd iron it onto the shiny side so that it would adhere to the wax.
Where's my freezer paper?
I don't know.
It might be in the corner of the room.
Could be anywhere.
I think it's in that basket over there if you wanted some. Right in the literally in the corner underneath the window.
I can't see it straight away. But what I did was I ran a tacking stitch round. I've got template plastic. I ran a tacking stitch around.
Clever. Yeah.
I'll just snip that off there. Actually need a longer piece of thread, I think. I ran a tacking stitch all the way round and pulled it up and then ironed it. And you can do that with the template plastic. It doesn't, I mean, I'm not talking about pressing your iron right down on it. But the template plastic will put up with just a little bit of heat on it.
I'm starting to realise now, when I said to you which iron would you like, and you said, oh, don't worry, doesn't matter. And I had the big one out from doing the pressing the interfacing. Yeah. I suddenly realised I should have just given you the prim one. It would have been really handy for you today, wouldn't it?
Yes, it probably would have done.
Sorry.
No, I mean, it's just, I can use either, and it doesn't really bother me which one I have. But yeah, the prim probably, because it's small pieces, it's probably easier with the little one. And your when you've done this, if you spritz it with a bit of your best press starch as well, that also helps to give it a nice clean, crisp edge for then applying it onto your plate in the middle. So I'm just tacking round the edge of this, not right on the edge, just about 1/8 of an inch in, just a bit, not quite a quarter, because it's only 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, so sort of somewhere in between the middle. Just wanted to do that to show you another way of doing it if you didn't have access to freezer paper, which of course you have got access to because Natasha has it.
But everybody's got a different stash, haven't they?
Yes.
If you don't have it, but you've got some template plastic left over from when we've done projects with template plastic, then you don't need the freezer paper.
This is
if you've got the freezer paper and you don't have the template plastic, then you've got another way to use these things. I don't think giving options is ever a bad thing.
Yeah, and you know, a bit of cardboard. We've all had lots of boxes, haven't we, recently with deliveries in. A bit of cardboard. Everybody's got a bit of cardboard. Cereal box, anything like that.
I can't remember the last time I ate cereal. We're just not a cereal kind of...
No, well, your children are not encouraged to have sugary cereals, are they? So
No.
They have proper breakfasts. I've seen Freddie with his sausages and his egg.
Oh, yeah, he often has a full English before he goes off anywhere.
I think it's brilliant. And they say, don't they, that having breakfast is probably the most important meal, particularly for children, because it's been proven that it aids their learning, concentration.
Well, there's a couple of things, isn't there? Like my kids have their dinner at 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5.
Yeah.
That's a long time to go then without food, then food to the next morning. It's like a fast, basically.
It is, yeah. Well, that's why it's called breakfast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Breaking the fast.
And then, and when I used to teach, sometimes just for fun, wasn't really fun, but you know what I mean, I would go around the room and I would say, right, you've had breakfast, you haven't, and I was always right. And they'd be like, how do you know, miss? I'm like, because of your concentration. Yeah. Those that had had breakfast were able to concentrate. And actually at Freddie's school, at 10 o'clock, they all stop for snacks anyway.
Yeah.
And they all have toast and fruit and milk and and everything else, just because they're just not expected to. So even if we have a morning when Captain Small hasn't wanted that much to eat, we know that she's still going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because at 10 o'clock, if she does want a snack, then she's going to be okay. Lo says Rice Krispies and Baileys. I'm seeing a theme here, Lo.
Yeah, I think.
It's just chocolate Baileys then, isn't it? Effectively.
So I've pulled that up, and I've just lost my thread. It just snapped, but I've pulled it up, and I can then take that over to the iron.
Oh, hang on. Can you just show us before you go and iron it?
Sorry.
Please? Just it's all right. I'm just on
pulled
a close up.
Yeah, I've pulled it up, not very well because it's just snapped the thread. Because I'm using the wrong thread. I'm using the Metler 60, which is very fine thread.
You want to use
You want to use a nice
polyester,
polyester really to pull it up, or a stronger
yeah, just
thread.
show us, because there we go.
So I've pulled it up, and that will pull it up right tight as it will go, and then you can just push your iron over it just to get those edges down.
We've got the bear mouse in the way.
The bear mouse. That sounds good, doesn't it? It's a bear mouse.
Well, apart from his hat and his bow tie, he is indeed a bear mouse.
Yes.
He looks like, is it Mr. Banks in Mary Poppins?
Yes, he does.
He
doesn't
does. He really does. I just love Mary Poppins. I've tried it with Emily. She's not interested.
Oh. And then you can just take that out. I left my tacking stitches in. And if you give it a bit of a
work,
because they're going to be underneath, if you give it a spritz with your spray starch around the edge and then push it in again, it gives it a really crisp edge to it.
Now, Ali makes a very good point. She says there's nice cardboard on Natasha Makes Envelopes. Yes, there is.
There is.
Of course there is. Lo says it works really well. Leave the Rice Krispies in the box and just drink the Baileys. I mean, that cuts down on your sugar, doesn't it?
It does, definitely.
You know, no worries about sugary stuff there.
That hasn't...
but you can tell with my kids if they have anything sugary. You can just count down to bad behaviour.
Yeah, because they're not used to having sugar as well.
I don't see...
It just gives them a complete... And,
yeah.
you know, let's face it, none of us need to have too much sugar, really.
Sometimes I just think it's an extra argument I'm just not prepared to.
Well, this is it.
Because none of us end up coming out feeling very nice at the end of it. Bless them. I remember one of my nieces telling me that I was mean because I wouldn't let Freddie eat ice cream when he was little. And I was like, tell you what, you give him ice cream and I'll leave him with you for the afternoon.
Yeah. Then see how mean I am.
Yeah.
So once you've got your circle, this isn't very good, to be perfectly honest with you, because my thread broke, I didn't get a good crisp
use a polyester
circle. Fold your circle in half, give it a pinch pleat at the side, and then fold it in half again, so you've got the quarter marks on there. And then again, you can line it up with your seam there and your seam there.
Could you
and
do that?
You'll know that your circle is in the middle. And again, you can hand applique that down, machine sew it inside, use a fancy stitch to sew it to give it a nice finish, whatever you want to do with it. And that will give you your centerpiece there. And then once you've got them all together, whether you're going to make it into a cushion or whether you want to make it into the runner like I did, I just joined the squares together and I used an inch piece of the stripy fabric with the stripe going horizontally.
I like that a lot.
Laid it up and I quilted mine. I quilted just inside the circle like I was doing in the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quilted just in the ditch around the template,
right,
the wedge part, and then I did a 1/4 inch echoing it. On the star, I followed the star points in a couple of places.
Yeah.
But the other two I haven't quilted on the plate part at all.
Doesn't need
but
it,
you could if you wanted to. So it gives you lots of options to play with it.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's because for me, when I've done Dresden's, it's just been a choice. I've just done it with a choice of colours. I hadn't ever thought about using this is the genius of today. I'd never thought of using a stripe to get different effects.
Yeah.
One fabric combination, one kit gives you three very, well, now we've discovered four.
Yeah. This is lovely fan shape.
Very, very different effects. I love
Yes.
it. And also, I mean, especially with that one up there, you've got those different colours. In fact, they've all got lovely different colours.
They've all got beautiful colours in them that you can pick out. You could do a
Yeah.
different coloured centre in each one if you wanted to.
And also, what I really loved about the colour choices, there are only two with pinks. The others could be quite masculine if you're making for a
Yeah.
home where, you know, florals aren't always appreciated.
A nice stripe works wonders.
Absolutely.
If you do 3, you're not going to use much of your long quarter. So if you wanted to, you could bind. You might have enough to do your binding if you did it single width rather than double.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted plain binding.
Yeah,
Rather than
yeah, yeah.
stripy, but
why
who
would
doesn't
you
love
when
a
you've got a
stripy
stripe?
binding?
Right. Why would you? Why would you? I just don't know.
I think we've covered all the bits on that now. I mean, I've made a bit of a hash of it, I know, but you get the idea, you get the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Ali said, I remember going into an exam and the tutor gave us glucose tablets. It really worked. My brain was buzzing with info. Just proved that feeding the brain is important. He was a scientist.
There you go.
There.
Yeah.
So that's
So
what
I'm
we do.
arguing with the scientists.
Could you imagine what would happen if I did a show after eating? Oh, because obviously I'd eat the whole packet of glucose tablets. It wouldn't just be the one, would it? I can't do anything just with one. But where's
You're a
Natasha?
fizz already. You don't need glucose tablets.
Yeah, just peel me off the ceiling.
Yeah.
This is why my kids don't need anything. Could you imagine? You just watch it go off.
Yeah.
Jane, that is beautiful. I'm just going to give everybody. There we go.
There you are.
Two different ways there, and another 2 on the wall behind you.
Yeah.
Ta-da! There. That is very lovely. What are we making next week? It's
Block
not-
of the month next week.
It hasn't come
Yay,
round
the fabrics
already.
arrived. We've got block 4.
Oh, good. We
Woo!
can finally send that
We're
out.
going to
then,
try and
can't
get them
we?
out at the end of this week, I
It's
think.
just, do you know what? It's been with all of the subscriptions. We've been waiting. It's been so frustrating waiting on either one
I
or
know, it's
2
just-
little tiny things. And I kind of like to send them
And
out
I
all
think,
at once.
you know, to be fair to our beloved suppliers, they're as frustrated as we are because
Yeah.
they're just like, nothing's being air freighted. It's all coming by ship. And then when it gets to the dock, they're restricted by the COVID restrictions as well, because so can only do so much.
And
it's
also the new paperwork. We've been on air. I've just had an email from another importer going, so you know all those forms you fill out? I said, yeah, there's some more that we need you to just fill out.
Yeah.
And nobody's quite sure. I'm sure once we get used to it, it'll be absolutely
I was
fine.
going to
It's
say,
just the first time you do
teething,
anything.
isn't it? It's the first time for doing it, and
Yeah.
we're all learning as we go along. And
But I tell you what, as soon as I get this paperwork sorted, we're in for a treat.
oh my God, we're going to be inundated.
Well, you know why? Because for all of the shipments that have been sent back, I've gone, could you just add X, Y, and Z? I've just realised on this one, got some of that new Jonathan Wilson, no, Dave, Wilson Tate, Christopher Wilson Tate,
Oh,
with the animals on. Oh, it's just gorgeous. It's seriously gorgeous. I got the very last bits that I could. There's some beautiful fabrics coming. What I might have to do, if it arrives before the weekend, which I really cannot promise at all because it's completely out of my hands, but if it does,
might be Facebook living.
Yeah, there might be a few little Facebook lives, just because we've been waiting so long for so many
Yeah.
of these fabrics, in between frantically chopping up the last of the cave to send out. I'm waiting on one to send out for these cave subscriptions. The rest of them are ready to go. I'm just waiting on one fabric to come in, which was ordered on the 4th of January and would have been here at the end of that week.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So that's where we're at for everybody. And the Tilda subscriptions, like I say, they're all good to go. Margaret says, I remember my brother-in-law's 40th birthday party. My sister gave her sons, 4 and 7, a small Coca-Cola each about their usual bedtime. And they stayed up till midnight. No trouble.
You see it, don't you, at family parties where the children have been at the the real Coke, and they're just like sliding around on their knees and all sorts of things. Crazy.
Mine have never ever had fizzy drinks like that.
No.
Freddie had a soda stream so we can have fizzy water. I mean, I'm a mean parent, aren't I?
No, I don't think you are. I think you're quite sensible, really. Why would you do that to yourself?
Well, yeah, let's make life easier.
I've got a
and Lo
child
says,
that has to watch his sugar levels, so I know exactly what it's like.
Oh, yeah. I remember my in-laws dropping Freddie back one time, and they'd fed him chocolate. They'd fed him chocolate ice cream, and they dropped him back. And when they came, I was like, so he was fine, but his behaviour's just like, did you give him ice cream? Yeah. It's like, yeah, that would be right. Ali says glucose tablets come in some lovely flavours. I think they do Lucozade ones, and I remember my grandma used to have them, and I just used to eat the whole packet. I have no, and this is the other problem. Another reason I can't have chocolate in the house is I will eat it all in one go.
Yeah, this is it. It's all or nothing for me. I
Well,
can't.
hence
I
having
can't just have a square of chocolate. I have to have
pot
the
for
bar.
breakfast. Yeah. And Lo says, Jane, your
Yeah,
hash
Flo.
is my best work. And Geraldine says, you've shown us 4 designs today that we can do with our dress, and you're brilliant. And Fiona says, thank you again. Another fab demonstration, having to dash off. More Zoom meetings. It's all go, 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 isn't it there?
You're very
Zooming
welcome.
around. And Elizabeth says, thank you, ladies. Fantastic demo. A real feast for the brain. And Ali says, that's the joy of being an auntie. You can fill them with sugar and send them home at the end of the day. Thanks! Yes, thanks for that.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Geraldine said that her nephew would practically run up the walls if you gave him Smarties. And this is my question. Why do the orange Smarties taste so much nicer than any of the other ones?
Them orange chocolate, there must be.
Do you think?
Yeah, because they taste of orange.
Is it just in our heads?
I don't know, because I don't like orange chocolate.
I remember going out one evening with my hairdresser, and in the pub that we went to, it used to give you a little plate of Smarties with your cup of tea or your coffee after your meal. So obviously we just kept ordering hot drinks, and then no, actually I'll be honest, we befriended the barman and got him to just pick out the orange Smarties.
Would that be your rider if you were a rock star? Orange Smarties only.
Could you imagine? Such a diva. She only eats the orange Smarties. Oh my goodness. Anne says, I'll have to catch up later. I've just come in from a run. Oh my goodness.
You should need a glucose tablet.
You will, absolutely. My scarf arrived, was there to meet me, and I love it. Oh, this is fabulous. Oh, Lo says they are orange chocolate. It was on a programme last week. You see?
Yeah.
Ask the audience. They always know.
They always know.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, they should make that into a game show, shouldn't they, with an answer? Hang on. What? You can buy boxes of just orange Smarties. Right, we're sending Inga back down to the post office.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it was the blue Smarties that made the kids hyper. Nothing good comes in blue apart from fabric
And blueberries. Well, they're not really blue. They're
They're not
purple,
blue.
aren't they?
Nothing in nature that is good is blue.
natural is blue. No. In fact, nature doesn't really do blue, does it? Forget me
Sky.
nots. Yeah, and sky.
Yeah. Well, that's given us food for thought, hasn't it? Right, everybody. Yes, Ali Jane's necklace is a bee. That's
Yes.
the other thing. It's
I
looking
love
cute.
bees. I love my bees.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, the red ones are banned in the USA. Oh my God, we're learning so much. They've now stopped the blue ones, yeah. Well, they've changed the ingredients, haven't they? Yeah. Oh, Penny's dad was a cameraman, and at the end of his career, he filmed the Smartie adverts for TV. I don't know if that ended his career, or did he eat too many and misbehave? I just don't know. I think we need to stop before we cast aspersions on poor Penny's dad's behaviour. Poor Geraldine's credit card bill has just arrived. Never mind. It makes
Don't
you
look
happy.
at it.
Don't-
Just take it to the bank and pay it.
yeah, and then just don't think about it anymore. Right, lovely people. We will be back on Monday. I might do. What am I going to do, Jane?
I'm going to do something wonderful with some Lisa fabric.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, what would you like? Oh, no. It needs to be something Mother's Day-y.
Yes.
E. What would you like for Mother's Day? Oh, I should have asked this ages ago, shouldn't I? What sort of makes would you like for Mother's Day?
We want nice little quick things to make, don't we?
And
Really
also
nice
something
and
that's not
pretty.
going to be difficult to post
Yeah.
either. That's the other thing. Oh no, we're going to be back on Friday. Oh,
gosh,
yes.
Joe's here.
Of course, it's the end of the month.
Designer takeover.
You see, this is it. I can't even believe
We can't
it's
even remember it's the end of February.
Oh my goodness
Where's
me.
February gone?
Right, we're back on Friday. Duh. Yes. With
We've got lovely
Joe.
Joe Carter. What's she making?
She's bringing us lots of Eastery type goodies.
Oh, gorgeous.
We've got, so her Easter rabbit pencil cases are back in different colourways.
Oh, how lovely.
She's got hand puppets that you can stuff an Easter egg in. What else have you got? Oh, there's so many goodies.
Oh, she's brilliant. She
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun on Friday.
Perfect.
So you won't be Facebooking live. You might be actually well, you will
I'll be
here.
actually live.
Actually live.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's a good job we're on lockdown. I'm not going anywhere. So I'd have
like,
like
yeah, I'm just
gone
off
out
now.
Gone out somewhere. Where's
Joe'll be at
Natasha?
the door
She's meant to do
going,
a show.
"Let me in."
It's because I don't think it's the end of the month.
No,
I'm
and we
so
completely
confused.
forgotten. I think we always do it with February, don't we? Because it's a short month anyway. But I think at the moment we don't even know what the day is. Never mind what month it is.
Geraldine's asked what date is block of the month for March. To be honest,
Third?
Geraldine,
Is it the
today
third?
I wouldn't believe anything we say.
I'm sure that Monday is the 1st, so it'll be the 3rd of March, won't it? Yeah.
I'm going to leave
We
you with
won't
that.
commit to that. Around about then.
Yeah,
Next Wednesday.
Geraldine. Next Wednesday.
Just be here next week and we'll be here with the
That's all
block.
you need to know. Right, lovely people. Oh, yeah, there you go. 3rd of March. That's from someone who knows.
That's good.
I think we've
Someone with a calendar in front of them.
right. Yes. Take care, lovely people. We will see you on Friday.
On Friday with Joe.
Yes. I knew that.
Have a lovely day. Bye.